A former Pentagon police officer could spend decades in prison for taking the law into his own hands while he was off duty in Maryland. Thank you for joining us. I'm Leslie Foster.
I'm Lorenzo Hall. In court today, David Dixon pled guilty to shooting and killing two men back in 2021. Get this, according to testimony, the two were allegedly looking for cars to steal at a high-rise apartment building in Tacoma Park. But prosecutors say that does not justify deadly force. Our Scott Broom is in Rockville, where Dixon is behind bars tonight.
David Dixon claimed that shooting at a fleeing car back in April of 2021 was self-defense. It was caught on video. Two men in the car were killed. A desperate 911 call came as the driver raced to a hospital.
That man shot at us for no reason. We never pulled no gun.
Earlier this year, a jury deadlocked on this case. But today, rather than facing a second trial, Dixon decided to take a plea. Guilty to 2 counts of second-degree murder for the deaths of 32-year-old Dominique Williams and 38-year-old James Lionel Johnson. A third man, 36-year-old Michael Thomas, survived the shooting. A cousin to one of the two victims spoke for the families.
The family's relieved that Mr. Dixon is taking responsibility for his actions.
John McCarthy is the state's attorney in Montgomery County.
They were fleeing for their lives. They were unarmed. And the individual with the handgun, who was not in uniform, not driving a police car, began to fire at them.
The incident happened April 7th, 2021 at the Tacoma Overlook high-rise where Dixon lived. The men in the car were looking to burglarize vehicles, and Dixon confronted them as they tried to leave. First, the driver backed up to get away, then maneuvered around Dixon, who fired after the car was past him. Dixon was an off-duty Pentagon police officer headed to work.
He had no legal authority, no police powers in the state of Maryland. While you're allowed to have self-defense when it applies, it just didn't apply here. There are punishments and penalties for committing crime, not summary execution, which is what happened in this case.
Dixon now faces as many as 30 years in prison. He'll be sentenced in November. Prosecutors promised to point out at the sentencing that Dixon also allegedly pointed a gun at a homeless woman at his condo complex in a separate incident. He was warned then, prosecutors said, not to take the law into his own hands, but they said he didn't listen. In Rockville, Scott Broom, WUSA 9.